when I first started out speaking, it was just me as a motivational speaker. And I would go out and I started speaking, to different organizations like elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, colleges, and universities. And then 3-4 years into it, I started to think about creating and building my empire. So what did I do? I created my own speakers bureau. And I booked people, for instance, like Jeff Johnson. I booked people like you'll hear Willie Jolly this afternoon. I booked Willie Jolly. I booked Dick Gregory, Bill Cosby, Dr. Maya Angelou, Russell Simmons. I would book these people at their high fees, and I would get 25% of whatever I booked them at. So that created another income stream for me. And then at the same time, I started to think, I said, well, there are other people who are going to come behind me who want to learn how to become a professional motivational speaker themselves. So I started teaching and coaching other people on how to get into the business and how to be successful in the business. And then on top of that, I started writing books. So I created Notch Free Publishing because that was my publishing arm. And I said to myself, this will become my empire. So now I have websites and all online where they may just sell one product. Or I have websites online, for instance, I have a website, it's called Monthly Motivational CD Club for Teens, where high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, parents, as well as youth organizations like the YMCA or the Boys and Girls Club, they subscribe to this monthly audio CD club for teens. And the teens who are involved in those schools or who are affiliated or connected to those schools or youth groups, they take their MP3s, their iPods, and they download this monthly CD. And this creates another income stream, but it creates a passive income stream for my business. And these are things that I've learned along the way as I continue to build and expand my empire state of mind. To the back of your handout for a minute. And this is something that you all can do too. Like I told you, I grew up here in Cherry Hill. My mother raised 4 kids on her own. Now, I was the first one to ever travel outside of the state of Maryland. I'm talking other than going to Kings Dominion, Hershey Park. I'm talking actually going somewhere, getting on a plane. I mean, I didn't have the silver spoon or anything. I just rolled up my sleeve and the vision came and I started to work on my vision. And I bring my nephews with me because I want them to see that they too can do it and you all can do it as well. But you have to expand your vision. You have to expand your belief. You have to expand the possibilities. And sometimes, the number one thing that stops us from believing that we can build our own empire, what's the number one thing? Anyone take a guess?
Fear. Fear.
There you go. Fear. Fear. When I started speaking, I had friends of mine coming to me saying, who's going to listen to you? What do you have to say? When I sat down to write my first book, people said, is he old enough to write a book? But I wrote that book. I sold over 15,000 copies of my book, Untie the Knots That Tie Up Your Life. And when people see my book, they're like, you have a book. Because this isn't just an 89-page book. I sat there and I poured all of me into the book, and you all can do the same thing. You have the potential, just like the theme of this conference says, you are the blueprint. But you have to believe it. You have to push through that fear. You know what I tell each and every audience? Fear is false emotions acting recklessly. Your false emotions acting recklessly. And oftentimes when you make the decision, ladies and gentlemen, to start building and developing a business, the one thing that's going to stop you is your fear But what do you think the second thing will be? Your peers, your friends. Your friends will tell you, well, don't you need to get a big money loan from a bank to go into business? Sometimes. But a lot of people that you all just shared, for instance, like when you said Jay-Z, look at Queen Latifah today. Look at Oprah Winfrey today. I mean, we can go on and on. You can say J-Lo. You can say Halle Berry. These people started out in one industry and they started to brand themselves, to grow themselves, to expand themselves to thinking from an empire state of mind. It's going to cost you. How many of you believe it costs to be the boss? It costs to be the boss. You know what? It costs you even more to be your own boss than to work for an employer. And so when some people call me up late at night and I'm still working at 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, it costs you. I remember listening to BET and to listening to Television One, and they interviewed people like Beyonce, and Beyonce said one time she was working on a project for like 3 or 4 days, and it was 2.5 days before she realized that she hadn't eaten anything. Because it costs you those types of things when you're trying to build and grow your empire. But the first thing, what's your name? Keisha? Kanisha. The first thing, Kanisha, tell them what the T stands for. Say it. Time. There we go. The T stands for time. It's going to cost you, and this is on the back of your handout, the T stands for time. It's going to take time for you to put your business idea together. It's going to take time for you to get the plan together, to create the administrative stuff or whatever you need to make this business go and grow. It's going to take your time. And that may mean for you, young people, to tell your friends on a weekend, I can't go out. I can't be at the club this weekend. I'm working on my business. As a friend of mine in Houston, Texas says, I'm working on my grind. I mean, that's how you have to see yourself when you're building a business empire. Sometimes those fun things may have to wait, but you know what else, ladies and gentlemen? Sometimes I have friends that come down on me because they say, what do you do for fun? Well, writing and speaking for me is fun. We determine what's fun for us. The next thing, say it louder, brother. What's your name, man? Jonas. Jonas? All right, say it louder.
Money.
Money. Let me ask someone while some of you are still writing, what's your main business? Does anyone have one? Go ahead.
PR.
She said PR and planning events. So your main business is going to be PR. But then one of your sub-business is planning events. Do you have another one under that too?
Invitation printing.
Invitation printing. You see, so she's doing PR, she's planning event, and invitation printing, and what's...
I was thinking like a hotline for partying safely.
Okay, a hotline for partying safely. You see? See, when you think empire and multiple streams of income, this is what we're talking about.